The Sitter is the third episode of the third season of Everybody Loves Raymond. This is directed by Will Mackenzie, and it's a really enjoyable episode. As always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode chronologically and share some thoughts. And Ray comes in at the beginning, calls Deborah a Teletubby, and Deborah has had a difficult day. The children caused a lot of chaos at the grocery store, and Ray suggests that they need some help. And Deborah does give him a bit of a look, as he clearly doesn't help out that much at home. I know he's at work during the day, but nevertheless, he could probably do more. But that's not what Ray meant. We then cut to the next scene, and we have the professional help that Ray was talking about. And this is a babysitter called Lisa. She's played by Senta Moses, and she's a delightful character. I really liked her. Everything was going really well. The kids were happy. They were eating their carrots, and Lisa even says she's happy to stay a little bit later so that Deborah and Raymond can go out to have something to eat. They're just about to head out of the door, and Marie comes over, and I love how the next few sentences played out, because just the comedic timing of everything Ray said as he tried to stop Deborah while Deborah was talking. Deborah tells Marie that Lisa is the babysitter. Deborah did realise it was probably not the best thing to say to Marie, and she did think on her feet, and she explained to Marie that she just didn't think it was fair that they were constantly relying on Marie for babysitting, taking advantage of her living across the street, and Marie seemed to accept this explanation. But then Robert came over and mentioned something he'd done with Marie's cooking, and Marie had an outburst, so clearly this had unsettled her. However, Marie is not the only one unhappy with the situation, because we cut to another day, and Deborah comes home and Lisa is playing with the kids, and they're all having a great time, and Deborah tries to join in with the game, and Ali says, "You're not playing, Mommy," which would have to hurt. We kind of see the hurt on Deborah's face a little bit, but then that increases when Deborah says it's time for Lisa to go. And the children are unhappy about this, and Ali says, "We want Lisa." And Deborah resorts to bribery by saying, "I've got cookies." And we're then at bedtime, and obviously a lot of the meaningful conversations happen when Ray and Deborah are getting ready for bed. And on this evening, Deborah says that she'd rather Marie look after the children instead. To us as the viewer, I think it's very clear why this is the case. She is clearly jealous of Lisa because the children seem to love her more than they do Deborah, which is obviously not the truth. But Deborah is, of course, the one who tells them to go to bed, who tells them to brush their teeth, who gives them into trouble if they're misbehaving. Lisa is just the fun babysitter. So, of course, they're going to want to spend more time with Lisa. And Deborah's really uncomfortable about this. But she doesn't tell Ray this. She just explains that it's not fair on Marie if Marie feels so dejected. And the next thing we know, Deborah's getting ready to go out, and Marie comes over, and Deborah gets exactly what she wanted when Ali says, "Mommy, I want to go with you." Because in this scenario, Mommy is the better choice, because they're having to choose between Marie and Deborah. And that's exactly what Deborah wanted. Unfortunately, things get a little bit chaotic, because Deborah and Ray come home a little while later on, and Marie is lying on the sofa with her foot propped up. There's ice over her ankle. She tripped over something. And once Frank and Robert and Marie leave, Deborah starts crying. She's blaming herself for the situation, which is a little bit harsh because it could have happened at any point. But because she had selfishly sent Lisa away and asked Marie to babysit instead, it caused this uncomfortable situation for Marie. And at that point, because obviously Deborah's crying, she has to confess to Ray why she did what she did. And they realise there's only one thing to do. They need to get Lisa back. And they try and panic call her. And unfortunately, the phone line is busy. And needless to say, because Lisa is a great babysitter and the kids all love her, she got another babysitting gig pretty quickly. And Ray did something that I definitely think is very awkward. He goes over to the house where Lisa is currently babysitting. She's babysitting for the Parkers. He takes her a pizza, which was a nice gesture. and basically tries to beg her to come back. But Lisa's already got a commitment with the Parkers now. And then the Parkers turn up to find Ray on their doorstep, which is incredibly awkward. And then we end with a streetcar named Desire reference with with Raymond yelling Lisa out towards the house, and it is very awkward and inappropriate, but within the context of the episode, it wasn't too bad. And then we have the final scene with Marie chasing Ali around the sofa, playing pew-pews, and ultimately sitting down and telling Ali to watch television. So it was a nice way to end things. I didn't mind that at all, and it was a pretty fun episode. Also, I think communication is key as well, because if Deborah had just been honest with Ray from the beginning about how she felt about Lisa, I think Ray would have helped her realise that she was mommy, and that's more important. And he did ultimately do this once Deborah confessed what she'd done or why she'd sent Lisa away. But if she'd communicated her feelings earlier, we could have avoided a lot of chaos. So I think it's a really great episode, some good takeaways, and ultimately The Sitter is a really enjoyable episode of Everybody Loves Raymond.